This is another episode of the Uncaged Voice podcast with Donnie Cage, top tier rated and Jigsaw Jester. What's up, fellas?
Hi. Now, y'all will have to excuse Brian. He is tired. I want y'all to imagine him wrapped up like a mummy right now.
It's a pretty accurate description.
Get the stick.
Well, this man opened and closed in the last 24 hours, so give the man a little bit of a crack.
Get the stick.
See, the man's speechless. He's saving his energy for later on in the podcast.
I just got to ruffle his feathers a little bit more. He'll start waking up.
I know. Especially when we talk about that stream that he did last week. You know, the one where he what did he have? It was the FBI, the ATF, and the FCC were knocking on his door.
I'm waiting for him. My man Brian is international criminal.
Well, folks, if you're listening for the first time, thank you for listening in. We got some great topics we're going to talk about today, including a brand new trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, which is one of the most, if not the most anticipated release of 2024. We're going to talk a little bit more about the TikTok ban in the US. And first, we're going to jump into some wrestling news. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about AEW and WTF is going on there. But first, we've got to talk about round one, or night one, I should say, of the WWE draft, which took place on Friday Night SmackDown this past week.
I was a fan of it. I think the old legends we brought back, the just the atmosphere since Triple H has taken over just feels a lot better and different to me. I'm not trying to speak for everybody else, but I love the changes. I love the vibe of it now. It feels like it's harkening back to the Attitude era because you can feel the fingerprints of it on what's happening nowadays. But at the same time, it's new age, if that makes any sense. And
Yeah,
it just meshes really well for me. I love it.
yeah, they're definitely experimenting with the format a little bit and with the production style, which I appreciate.
No more
Uh,
Kevin Dunn shaky cam.
yeah, no more of that.
I'm gonna beat the hell out of the wrestlers with this camera, shaky cam.
Yeah,
Lost footage, shaky cam.
yeah. Well. Anyway, so night one of the draft took place on SmackDown this past week, and we had some exciting picks. I wouldn't say that they shook things up that much, at least not as much as I would have liked to have seen. But let's go through a quick recap of all the draft picks, shall we?
Yes, sir.
So round one, the number one pick in the draft this year was the EST herself, Bianca Belair, who will be staying on SmackDown.
Love me some Bianca. I don't mind her staying on. Like SmackDown is where you go to beat people up. Personally, it's like Raw is more of the soap opera styling. Like you get more storyline based. Well, it's the way it used to be. Now it kind of seems like the storylines are bleeding into SmackDown, but that's due mainly to the bloodline. I'm betting, or I'm not betting. I'm blaming all that on the bloodline, but it's not a bad thing. But Bianca going to SmackDown, I feel, is a good fit for her.
Yeah, I mean she had a lot of success on Monday Night Raw when she was the women's champion there, but I think it's good that she's staying on SmackDown at least in the short term. And then of
Turn her
course,
heel, make her fight Bailey.
what's that?
Turn her heel, make her fight Bailey, and that's the rest of your program for like a good 5 months if you do it right. You can at least carry you to SummerSlam.
Bianca first carved a name for herself in NXT as a heel, so it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I want to see
But
main event heel Bianca though, or main roster, excuse me.
That's right.
So
Now we've
next,
got main event Jey Uso will be staying on Raw, which makes a lot of sense because he's feuding with Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship right now. Wouldn't have made any sense to trade him over to SmackDown.
he's in your city. I love how over he's gotten. Um, Jay, I feel like they need to keep him separated from Solo and Tama right now because if all goes to fruition, we can do like this SummerSlam or not SummerSlam Survivor Series like Bloodline War. You got Roman's team versus The Rock's team. Like it could be good. It has potential.
Agreed, and they need to put Jay's involvement with the Bloodline on ice right now. He's had enough
Yes.
involvement. We saw Jay versus Jimmy at WrestleMania. Keep Jay separated. Just let him spread his wings and do his own thing. Yeet.
Yeah.
Next, of course, we've got Mr. Mello Don't Miss himself, Carmelo Hayes, getting the official call up from NXT and joining the SmackDown roster.
So he was a first round draft pick, right?
He was.
I find that impressive. Melo is really good. I haven't bought into like his promos yet, but in the ring he's really good. Uh Kind of the inverse with Trick Williams. But that's another story for another day. Right now we're focusing on Carmelo. Hopefully he's all right after that mishap that happened on Friday. But yeah, I think he'll do fine. Just breeze past that. He'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. And then Monday Night Raw, last but not least, in round one, is going to keep Seth freaking Rollins.
I want to know what they're gonna do with him because all his stuff is kind of cleared right now. They put that bow on the gift of the Shield at WrestleMania. He's too injured to. Well, he's not injured anymore, rather, but he's taking time off, I believe. Uh, we're letting DP simmer right now with that title, so I don't. Unless you want to give him more credibility, you could feed him Rollins. But as of right now, I don't really see him playing too big a factor. He might fit into that Drew McIntyre thing that's going on, but Seth Rollins gets a pass from me on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, they call it Monday Night Rollins for a reason, so it only makes sense to keep him on that show.
Oh, absolutely.
So now moving forward to round two, we've got the Viper, Randy Orton, also staying on SmackDown.
Yes, sir. We're getting Team RKO, bro. I'm telling you.
Yep. Him and Kevin Owens are basically the new version of, instead of rated RKO, you've got Team RKO.
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know if they could put a moniker in front of it as just RKO, aside
It's,
from Team.
it's
So,
literally just RKO, like that.
mhm. Stunner into the RKO. I'm cool. My two of my favorite finishers right after one another. I'm a fan.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I never pictured the two of them as a tag team, but I like their chemistry.
Right? Nuts.
And the feud between them when they eventually break up is going to be insane.
I got Orton eventually challenging Cody for that title, but I just don't know when because it has to happen.
Yeah. Orton has to turn heel at some point because he's at his best when he's a heel.
Oh, remember Skinhead Orton?
Yes,
Man.
I do. Now, I'm actually going to skip the next pick because I have a little bit more to say about this. But Nia Jax has also been drafted to SmackDown as part of round two, which is a good move for her. She doesn't need to be on Raw any longer, in my opinion.
Less promo time. Let her. Even actually, I will take that back. Her promos have gotten slightly better. Not like groundbreaking or anything, but she is getting better in the ring and in promo. She's gaining ground, and I'm proud of her for that. So let's see what she can do on SmackDown.
And then Monday Night Raw is also getting Liv Morgan. Well, keeping Liv Morgan, I should say.
I am actually not a Liv Morgan fan. I respect her. I mean, but I don't know. It's just something with her isn't clicking with me as a fan, and I don't know what it is. I'm rooting for her. I just don't think she needs a title just yet, like people are clamoring for.
Yeah.
Because we saw what happened last time she had a title, and it didn't go too well.
Well, a lot of that was the way she was booked. They did not book her to look strong. So
That's good.
so and then Monday Night Raw also gets the red hot former two-time NXT champion and NXT Tag Team champion Braun Breaker.
That man is a freaking monster. That's all I can really say about it. That man is a monster. I think that, what did they say? They clock him running the ropes at 23 miles an hour.
That's insane.
Jesus Christ! And then coming off that with a spear, that man is a monster. Scott Steiner's nephew don't fuck around. I love it.
Yeah. I will say the only thing I don't like. I know that Breaker can go. I've seen a lot of his work in NXT. He's a good worker, and I don't want to just keep booking him in Goldberg style squash matches. Like
Okay, you're getting that feel too.
I'm not saying all of his matches have to go 20 minutes. I'm just saying, give him 5 or 6 minutes to work a match with somebody.
Yeah.
Let him dominate, but let his opponent get a little bit of offense in.
R.I.P. Cedric Alexander, by the way.
I know Cedric's mad talented, and unfortunately, he's just enhancement talent now.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna make him the Heath Slater watch.
All right, well, moving on to round 3 of the pick. SmackDown is going to keep the megastar, LA Knight.
No. You gotta do it right. It's L.A. Knight. Yeah. You gotta put the yeah at the end. Yeah. I love L.A. Knight though. He is a charisma. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say fountain, but he's just oozing it. You have no choice but to get behind LA Knight and everything he's doing. He's just too good.
Oh, yeah, the man was always a good talker, dating back to his Impact Wrestling days. He was always a good talker.
I mean, he's not the most oh, versatile, I guess the word you can say, in the ring. Like he has a pretty basic moveset, but he'll talk you into the building all day,
Yeah.
and that's all you need.
But it's same thing like with like his move set isn't like anything groundbreaking, but it's also not bad. It's like he knows what he's good
No,
at and astray from that.
yeah, he's not horrible, and like I'm not gonna say he's like God. I will get in my bag. I won't. I don't think he's Mason Ryan levels of horrible, but I don't know. Maybe it's because his matches don't go for too long because he's kind of in that mid card right now.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like, cause like the longest match I think he's had is with Roman, and
Yeah.
that was a pretty good match too. So yeah, I'll give him. I'll wait and see if he whips something out that I haven't seen before from him.
And then also for round 3, Raw is going to get to keep Ricochet, and they're also going to get to keep Sheamus.
Hmm. Ricochet. With Ricochet, it's. I want to see what you're going to jump off of next. I want to see how you're going to show off your agility. Because Ricochet, I don't really see him promoing. And hopefully they keep him on Raw to give him like a good storyline he can sink his teeth into. Uh, but with who else did you say? It was Ricochet and Sheamus, right? Burger after burger, Sheamus.
Do
I
not
feel
body
like
shame.
that's what I was just about to say. I think they the internet got on his neck a little too much for that. But Drew's one liner for it is just chef's kiss. He's got like Sheamus is not lying. He's gotten really good at that. But let's see if some fellas can get their heads kicked out on Raw. That could be cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, last but not least, for the third round SmackDown, the Bloodline has been drafted, and that would be Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman.
Interesting they're keeping Heyman with them though. I think because Heyman is the mouthpiece. I don't know if Solo has the intimidation factor, and he does come off as intense all the time, but he doesn't say much. So I think keeping Heyman with him right now is a good idea.
Yeah,
So
I
that
mean,
when Roman comes back, you can do literally whatever you want.
Paul Heyman's the wise man. He's the voice of the Bloodline, so it only makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It can work. I'm cheering for it. I'm like anything bloodline related, you're gonna sell me automatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to see them go up against some fresh opponents, though, just not the same people over
Let's
and
say
over
how
again.
you gonna do that? They don't ran through the roster. Just about. The only thing they ain't done is beat up the NXT people.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then round 4, this was the final official round on Friday Night SmackDown. AJ Styles will be staying on SmackDown.
the phenomenal one. Hopefully he gets some of his cred back with this match with Cody, because at this point you can't really put a belt on him right now, because unless it's like the US belt, right?
Potentially, yeah.
Because I don't see him beating Cody unless, Cody's injured from that incident. But
Yeah.
apparently I don't think he is. I think he did an interview and said he's fine, or he's always hurt rather.
Yeah, I
So
think he just jammed his arm a little bit. I don't think it was anything serious.
yeah, like my brother was watching that and he's like, "Did you hear Mello's thud as opposed to Cody's thud?" Mello landed like gently. Cody landed like he fell out of a freaking helicopter or something. I'm like, yeah, that did look kind of bad. But let's not try that in the match with the phenomenal one. Don't try
Yeah.
to catch him out of midair.
And then Monday Night Raw is also going to get to keep Alpha Academy.
I'm loving heel Gable, which isn't necessary. Well, it is now that you literally gave Chad's WrestleMania to Sami Zayn. Literally gave it beat for beat. Like, because now you see Sammy talking about his family, hanging out with his family ringside. Literally gave everything that was Gable to Sammy, and he didn't need it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he gets. I like what I want for Gable is the Alpha Academy eventually either gets disbanded or gets new members in the Creed brothers,
That would be cool.
and then they jump Sammy a lot.
Yeah.
I don't hate Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn. I just don't think that this was his.
No, and I think that's the storyline they're going with. This was his opportunity.
Yeah, they're like it's more of a bitter thing as opposed to no, no. Well, is it a justified villain role like for Gable right now, or is it just a villain role because he's getting boos? Usually with like justified villain roles, you'll get some cheers in there.
Yeah. Well, I
So I
guess
don't know.
because of Sammy's natural connection with the crowd.
Also true. Because that man's like once that bloodline stuff started kicking off, people fell in love with him just off of Usi.
Yeah, people are not going to boo Sami Zayn.
Nah, you can't. You really can't.
Yeah. And then SmackDown also gets Andrade El Idolo.
Let that man cook. If you have seen anything he is capable of doing, like I believe he was in Lucha Underground for a second. I'm not certain, but I know he was like CMLL God
Oh,
essentially. So if let that man cook, that's all I want for Andre. Let him cook.
yeah, he's a talented wrestler, no question about it.
Hmm.
And then Raw also gets NXT's Kiana James.
Which was the biggest left field pick all night I expected, or didn't expect rather, because that came legit out of nowhere for me. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Um, sure, let's see what she can do on the main roster. Hopefully, they have a spot for her already filled because we don't need another Ivy Nile Zoe Stark situation, or not Ivy
very,
Nile, Zoe Stark and God Xia Li who ended up getting released.
yeah. No, very true. And actually, speaking of, I'll get to Zoe Stark in a second because they announced a couple of supplemental picks for the brands after Friday Night SmackDown. So, in addition to all the people we announced, SmackDown is also going to get the OC, which is Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Mishin. They're also going to get Baron Corbin, and they're
So
going to
yeah,
get Alexander and Ashante the Adonis.
I keep forgetting he works there. Ever since they let go of Top Dollar, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I
because he
honestly,
hasn't been put forward. Like they
yeah,
took beef up from him, and now she's with the Pride. So it's just weird. Like he's just floating there.
yeah,
They might as well do another Hurt Business thing with him or something. I'm not sure. Have him join up with Cedric Alexander and form a tag team
yeah.
because they
Well,
ain't going else right now.
yeah. Well, Raw is also going to get Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn, and Ivar of the Viking Raiders.
Shayna Baszler did not give a damn about this draft. She was more worried about the actual draft. I was watching her on TikTok, and I'm like, she's actually pretty funny. So Shayna, like, she won't get clowned for me anymore. I love Shayna. No. Who else did you say? Alba Fire, Aladon. Uh, I'm hearing more NXT names, and I just hope they have a place for them because the roster is getting kind of thick.
That's what I worry about too,
So let's just hope and pray because we're gonna have like a lot of 3MBs running around if they don't.
for sure. Um, yes, I mean that covers the WWE draft so far, and I mean it's going to continue on Monday on Monday's episode of Raw. Hopefully, we'll have some more surprises in store for us. As we all know, all champions on their assigned brands, they're safe right now, excluding the women's tag team champions.
Because they really do not give a damn about those
It,
belts.
exactly.
It's been hot potato between the Party Girls and the Kabuki Warriors. Party Girls, Kabuki Warriors. Please, if you're going to have that title, make it credible because it's not like you don't have women that can make it credible. Matter of fact, give it to Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. They'll make them credible. Promise you that. Or excuse me, Chelsea Green. Had to say it right.
Got to get the tone right.
Chelsea Green.
Well, again, before we completely get away from wrestling topics, one thing I wanted to get your reaction to. I mean, first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to former WWE star and now AEW star, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. Huge accomplishment.
Yes.
First black champion in AEW history. Black world champ.
Yes. Absolutely. Big ups to Swerve for that.
Yeah, and he beat Samoa Joe. Like, come on. I mean, that's Joe's kind of a big deal in the wrestling industry. So
Oh,
it's not.
not like yeah. Joe was like a pillar of the Indies, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Because it was him, Danielson, Punk, and I'll go. I don't like picking out of these like last few, because it's like I could say Daniels, I could say like a bunch, like because like a lot of people run through my head when I think of indie pillars
Yeah,
because you've seen them and like you've watched their growth. So for I'm gonna get back on topic. For Swerve beating Joe of all people, that was one of the more credible champions that you could have beat. So it makes you
yeah,
look really strong, and I'm hoping that the booking follows suit because Tony Khan, as of late, has been kind of I don't know, unhinged. So let's hope that he gets back on track pretty soon too.
yeah. I mean, that's a topic for another podcast because, as I
Yeah,
said,
go ahead. I'm
WTF is
sorry.
W overall.
Mm, yeah, I don't want to be tribalistic because I just love professional wrestling. Wrestling is really fun to me. But when you go out there and you sit here and you make these snippets or these snide remarks and they end up backfiring on you and you do things that make you look really goofy, that's when I have a problem. I want that company to succeed because honestly, AEW makes WWE a hell of a lot better. But you need to get your house in order.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but CM Punk, not to bring his name up, but I mean, he said in an interview recently, he said Tony Khan is a nice guy, but he's not a boss.
Yeah, and I believe that. Like you can sit there and look at Tony Khan and tell he loves professional wrestling. Anytime he makes an announcement, he's like wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, happy as hell. But I think that's one of the things in his way right now because he's more fan than understanding the business as a whole. Because you can be a fan and book all these great dream matches all day long, but if it's not resonating with the fan base and actually showing a profit for you to where people are continuously coming back each week to where we want to know what's happening on this next episode of television, it's not going to work. You have to keep that up. And Tony Khan's numbers fluctuate between like high 8,000 and low 600 or 800,000 and low 600,000.
Yeah,
So I want better for him. I do. Just learn how to shut your damn mouth and book good matches. And don't worry about what the other people are doing. Try to be better than them.
yeah. And the truth is, and really just to end on an end note, if AEW is successful, it's or can get back on track to be successful, it's going to
Mm.
force companies like WWE to keep upping their game, which means
Yes.
the product is going to be even better than it currently is, which will be good
Mm-hmm.
for the industry as a whole.
100%. And that's what, because that's how fans win. You sit here, you stop trying to paint the other one as a demon and just show why you're the better product. That's all you have to do. You don't have to sit here and be like, well, WWE, we're Pepsi and they're Harvey Weinstein. What the hell are you doing? Shut up. Book the match. Book matches. That's my problem. That's my only problem with AEW, for real. I can deal with the blood because, CZW. That's not new to me. I can deal
Yeah,
with all the wild spots because not new to me.
yeah,
So I just want them to do better. That's all I'm hoping for.
yeah. Well, the one thing we know about wrestling companies as a whole is that they're utilizing social media a lot more to reach more audiences. And to piggyback off of that, we've talked in previous podcasts about supposed TikTok ban in the United States,
Mm,
and it was recently announced that President Joe Biden signed a bill that basically gives TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, 270 days to sell TikTok. Failure to do so would lead to significant consequences, including TikTok being prohibited from U.S. app stores and from internet hosting services that support it. And what does that mean in scheme? What that means is that it would impact the platform's 170 million U.S. users, not to mention 7 million businesses that operate on the app.
I want you to know that you said 170 million users.
In the U.S.,
Isn't that at least a third of the U.S. population?
that's
At
more
the
than a third.
very minimum. Okay. Why take something away knowing it's beneficial to the American people from the American people? Fear. It's fear. Because people are finding out, oh, y'all have been lying a lot about a lot of stuff. And then when truth gets exposed, you kind of have to shut that out. That's my theory as to why. Because a year ago, this wasn't a big deal. This wasn't a problem to where they needed to sell this. But now it is. I
It's
just
funny.
find it very interesting.
Well, it's funny because I had this exact talk with a friend the other day, and he said to me that the reason he believes, and that a lot of people believe, that they're trying to ban the app is because what happened was some politicians were trying to use the app to get their very specific message across. And when people on the app called them out and said, this message you're trying to get across is total bullshit. It doesn't. There are no facts to support it. Then all of a sudden the politicians were like, well, if I can't get my message out there, then we'll just ban the app.
Jeff Jackson, I believe his name is, was a prime user of TikTok. I mean, he was saying he was very quote unquote transparent, uh, down to earth, like letting you in on the House of Representatives and their thought processes and whatnot. This man is one of the first people to sign the damn ban bill. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm believing you got some form of criticism that you
Yep.
didn't like, and you're like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Get it away from me. And it's disgusting
Yeah, and
to
look,
me.
to give another example, Jester, when, I mean, wasn't TikTok, but it was a different app. Like when Trump got called out on Twitter a while ago, when he got banned from Twitter, he wasn't calling for like the platform to get shut down. He just said, I'll just go to another app." And
Yeah, True
eventually,
Social.
they lifted the ban anyway on him, and he's back on the app now. But it's like even he was like asked about it, and basically was like, "I don't think banning TikTok is a good idea."
People's attention spans are shit nowadays because you can sit here and do the worst kind of thing, but if you say one thing that somebody likes, oh, well, he's not that bad. He's not that bad a person. And I'm talking more about the court of public opinion
Yeah.
because this whole thing doesn't click well to me, and I'm hoping that that doesn't play a factor into the elections this year because I want people's attention spans to be on full blast. I want them to take note of all these politicians that are voting against your better interest and get them out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to win, the only way to make your life better, or else you're just going to sit there and keep complaining. Vote them out.
Yep.
Honestly, I think that's another reason TikTok got banned too, because it was promoting that and showing you a lot of the politicians in everyday life, like acting like civilians, and they're being dicks to the American people.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. That there has been apps like TikTok before TikTok, and there will be more apps like TikTok after TikTok.
Yep.
And even then, that's if they don't divest, which you were bringing up a point they could, but even then, it's unlikely because we're dropping the bucket as opposed to the international numbers they pull in, the international money they get. So, yeah, here's what it is.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like some people are just like, well, look at the horrible things they post on TikTok, and I'm like, they post horrible things on every app if you really do your research. And the bottom
Every
line,
single one.
there is a little thing called parental control, which is keep track of what your kids are looking at.
It's not hard.
Problem solved.
Oh, be a helicopter parent if you need to.
Sometimes you have to. Just saying.
It wouldn't hurt.
I told
That's
you.
how little Johnny decides he's neglected and wants to air out a convenience store. I digress.
Yeah. So, Jester, I'll tell you, I was channel surfing today, and a great movie was on a little movie called X-Men: Days of Future Past, which is just an awesome movie that I never get tired of.
You said Days of Future Past, and my brain instantly got ready and defensive because it registered Dark Phoenix, and I'm like, I'll kill you. That movie was trash, but Days of Future Past is the best X-Men adaptation they've actually done.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. That's hard to argue with.
So I loved it.
But of course, that movie featured the one and only Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and despite the fact that we thought we'd never see him dust off the clock again, this summer we're seeing Deadpool and Wolverine in a theater near you.
Yes.
And they just dropped a brand new trailer a little while ago. And to quote Ryan Reynolds in that trailer, I am soaking wet now.
I'll quote Wolverine and Deadpool. I'll quote Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Let's fucking
All right,
go.
so Jester, we're going to talk all about Deadpool and Wolverine now that Brian's back. Let's just watch the damn trailer. Brian, roll the footage.
All right, look, I know I haven't been here the entire show, but you don't have to yell at me like that.
Let's fucking go.
All right, fine. Here it is.
I told you, you're not welcome.
Oh boy, here we go.
You're not welcome anywhere.
You'd like to drink
Get the fuck
Heineken.
out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and
Get
then I'll
out.
leave.
No need for the profanity.
This man is always in
Hi,
a bar,
Peanut.
bro.
I'm gonna need you to come with me.
Bro,
right
he's a
now.
drunkard. Wouldn't you be drinking all the time
I'm
if
not
you were
interested.
like stabbed
All right, well,
repeatedly?
I'm sort of on the tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go.
Blown
Oh.
up, sent to hell,
Whiskey
all
drink
that.
of the claws.
Oh, claws aren't coming out.
Wolverine's over 40.
You don't want this. Unless you want to take a deep breath through.
I'm gonna pause real quick because I want to read what's on his gun. And also, I just want to point out the fact that I'd imagine that it probably hurts like hell. Because, in the original X-Men, X-Men period, he always said that it actually hurts every time they come out.
Mhm.
Them coming out as slow as they are has to hurt like a mother.
Oh yeah.
I feel, and we're gonna get to the part in a second that solidifies my theory, but I think they're taking from a specific comic line in the story. Well, a couple, but they're blending it into one nice little mesh. It's gonna be beautiful.
Wait, what you mean you were going to get to a part? Are you telling me you watched this trailer already, Chester?
Yeah, because I'm a normal fucking human being.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
We've
y'all.
all seen it already. We're just rewatching it. We'll give y'all our feedback on it. Now,
Yes.
the reason why I wanted to pause here specifically is to see what his gun said. It says, "Smile, wait for the flash." Lovely.
Ha!
Such
I
a
like it.
It'd be even better is if they revisited this same shot later in the movie, and his first bullet out of the chamber is a painted Deadpool button. Bullet.
That'd be cool.
Like, so when it shoots out, you just see Deadpool's face on a bullet. That would actually be godlike.
Like his little logo or something.
Yeah,
that'd be
that'd be godlike. Okay, let's go on.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider.
Oh, might want to rethink that, Wolverine.
I would love to see him breathe through his forehead.
He probably would have died there. He's slow healing.
I'm about to lose everything that
Look
I've
at-
ever cared about.
Peter, there's
Not my
Vanessa.
fucking problem.
Yeah,
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Yes.
your world went to shit.
So this isn't
Again.
this isn't the Wolverine
It is not. This is
No.
from the X-Men movies that we're familiar with.
nope.
I don't
very-
believe so. No.
And he also this is showing that it's a variant. This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oops.
And there is one storyline in the comics that did that,
What storyline is that?
and that is Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
It explains the slowing of the popping of the claws. It explains his bitterness.
Hmm.
It explains the scene we're about to see in a second, and I'll pop when we get to it. But it's really cool.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Wolverine let down his entire world.
Claws to the balls.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or
I hate
should we
it.
wait for a third act flashback?
I love that. Third.
Right?
I love when he breaks the fourth wall. It's so good.
Oh, we're bringing out the.
I don't know anything about
Economy.
saving worlds.
Thoughts on the outfit?
I mean, I love it. I love it.
I'm a fan.
It's
People are
perfect.
complaining.
It's honestly
Yeah.
perfect, and I love the ripped off sleeves version of it. It's
Yes.
Yes.
it's perfect. I almost feel like they're saving it for the movie itself. I guarantee you, he has the mask in this movie.
Yes, please.
He probably
yeah.
he
People
probably
already
gets
started
rid of
editing
it at a point. Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna have the mask though.
yeah.
No
I
question.
think he's 100%. He has the mask.
Even then, I think they did his arms in post because you remember they were saying he had like he was in fear of skin cancer. That's why they covered him up on the set photos.
Right.
So they might have done this in post. I think they did, but if they did a really good job.
Yeah, and this one shot alone, it looks great.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this looks very good, and people were also predicting that, which is also my prediction because they did this with the Amazing Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man. What was it? The one with all three Spider-Men in it.
No way home.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They basically showed the trailer, and they basically after effects certain stuff out.
Oh, I know what you're talking.
Even
they
though it
did.
was actually there. So for all we know, a lot of these scenes that we've seen, he actually probably has the helmet on. And or there are characters that are in this trailer we haven't seen yet. They've been photoshopped out. For all we know, X-23 is actually right there with them.
Yeah.
That would be fire and would explain that gap.
Because I heard X-23 is in this movie.
Oh, I've heard a couple of very cool rumors recently.
I hope
You
she
don't
is.
see it?
She's one of my faves. I love her. So something to talk about here with a little bit of Deadpool lore. First, love the golden guns. Dope as hell. I really like the callback to his love for chimichangas on that taco cart.
Yep.
You see the desserts
Like-
or whatever. I guarantee you they sell chimichangas in there.
They have to. He has to get a chimichanga. It's
Yep.
been 2 movies without chimichangas. Deadpool needs chimichangas in this last one right here.
I'm calling it there now. I guarantee you before they did this badass walkout, he probably was super distracted trying to get something to eat right there.
Like shoving his face full of chimichangas, soaking it through the mask. That'd
Right.
be great.
It'd be great. All right. Continuing.
But you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
Oh,
You were an X-Man.
Oh, there you go.
And
Life. What's that say? Bare feet.
What about it?
Liefeld. Yeah, that's a reference to the fact that Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, can never draw feet correctly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
can't.
That's hilarious. Feet are hard though.
I didn't notice
Feet
that.
and hands are very difficult. There are techniques,
I did not
but they
notice
are
that,
hard.
Don.
I didn't notice that either. That's funny.
Did you notice the line Wolverine said, "I'm no hero"? Nice little callback to the first Deadpool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, this Wolverine clearly is going through something.
Yeah, if it's what it was in the comic, it's over.
All right, at any point, if y'all want me to pause, let me know.
No,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yep. And by the way, people watching, I'm pausing on purpose so the video doesn't get flagged.
Have to.
Yeah.
Copyright.
X-Man.
Oh, oh wait, never mind.
I am soaking wet right now.
There you go, Don.
Still a little slow, but better.
Oh, look at this.
That's Liam Bader's bigger Wolverine.
Boys are so silly.
Who's the bald chick? Do we know?
That is-
I'll tell you who
You
she
know?
is.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes. That is Cassandra Nova, the twin sister of Professor X.
Okay, so she. Ooh, look at that skull in the background, which is Ant-Man's.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to pause.
Bro, she made.
That's from the Old Man Logan
That's
comic
crazy.
book line because it's Hank Pym instead of Scott Lang, and it's called Pym Falls. Ironically enough,
So is this
like, it's
Ant-Man
his body.
dead or is it undead?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, he's dead. Like everybody
she-
dead.
She made a freaking ship out of his, or whatever this is, out of his skull.
Like I said, they're mixing Old Man Logan with the Cassandra Nova line, which is for Extinction, which
It's
is
very
where
post-apocalyptic.
she
Yeah.
sends wild signals to the mutant island of Genosha, which we just saw in this past episode of X-Men 97, and wipes out 16 million mutants
Damn.
with like wild signals, and it's nuts.
This is a crazy shot, by the way. Just looking at the
Oh,
skull in the
absolutely.
background looks creepy as hell.
The
Okay.
scenery in this movie is beautiful. The cinematography. I am a sucker for music matching
Boys are
fight
so
scenes.
silly.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action
There's Dog
sequences.
Pool.
Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Oh, look at the portal.
So this is another example of clever After Effectsing, because whenever we see the portal that rips open, that's used by Doctor Strange and the other, what do they call it? Do they have official names? Doctor Strange and the other magic users.
He uses it sling ring for the portals.
Right. So
Yeah.
when they this is clearly one. At least it looks like one. This is was that?
It's definitely a sling ring.
Yeah, this is a sling ring. Now, normally with the sling ring portals, when they open, we can see what's on the other side. They purposely left this out, I think.
Oh, you're right. I didn't
yeah.
even notice that. Good idea. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, this is a prime example of, they're not showing us everything, which is good. Kudos to them. I don't want to be spoiled in the entire movie. So
No.
I mean,
this I feel like this is going to be an amazing cameo wherever they're going.
mhm.
They're jumping into somebody's living room.
I hope it's
Lord of the Rings.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, okay.
I love
The
it.
one thing that Feige said is off limits.
The toupee is
They
disgusting.
know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even
They know all the
snowboarding?
slang terms.
White girl interrupted?
Even Forrest
Girl
Gump.
Do you want
interrupted.
to build a
I
snowman?
You wanna be a
have
snowman?
never heard that one before in my freaking life.
LFG. Let's fucking go.
And
Hashtag LFG.
he said that so casually, like the white girl. I've never heard that. I've heard Sherman Hemsley. I've heard Booger Sugar. I have never heard White Girl Interrupted. That is beautiful. I'm using that from now
White
on.
Girl
Everyone
Interrupted
drops
is crazy.
No,
Love
my
it.
favorite one is "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?"
Oh, that's for the Disney, baby.
Yeah, that the White Girl Interrupted is the wildest one I heard. I'm like, what?
Oh man, that blew my mind. I was like, what? I sat there looking at the screen. What?
Guys, can I say something?
Go for it.
Colossus is supposed to make an appearance in this movie, and I would love to get me a fastball special with him throwing Wolverine at some point.
Please, bro. I would love that.
Hopefully, it's the
After doing it
Colossus
in
that
Ultimate Alliance when I was a kid or X-Men Legends, I need that.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
it's the Colossus that'll remember Deadpool from the last movie, and not
Yes.
a variant. Like I'd rather have some returning characters from his last movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it like aside from the old lady and the other people that were in that room just now.
Oh, so you want like what's her name in Negasonic?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Now, there is no guarantee they're gonna do this because movies deviate from the comics tremendously a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead is not that important in the comics. She has one scene, and E is for Extinction. And she's a technopath.
Right.
She's in class. She's like, Miss Frost, I don't think you understand. What I'm saying is everybody in this room is about to die. Then they die, like almost instantaneously, because the room just blows up
Mm.
because the Sentinels are attacking.
Oh, Super
Yeah.
But
Sentinels.
I don't think they're going to use the Sentinels. I have a theory that I'm going to tell y'all about probably off air because I don't want to spoil anybody possibly.
I don't know, man. I feel like this would be the movie to bring the Sentinels in.
I would love to see an actual like Transformer style Sentinel like that CG. That'd be clean.
Well, you see, this is what I'm going to say about this movie in general. Obviously, I'm hyped as hell to see it, and I know that they're not spoiling too much for us, which I like. I like that they're keeping things in the dark, and I hope they continue that and don't spoil anything. We know that inevitably spoilers are going to leak on the internet because that's just what happens. But I'm saying marketing itself, I hope they don't spoil anything big. But the one thing I do want to say about this movie, just like I do about every big Marvel event movie, is people need to make sure they temper their expectations. Because when you set them too high and you just expect everybody and their mother to show up in the movie, it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. I learned that with X-Men when I didn't get Gambit, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, I think you just gotta take, like, people just need to learn to take the movie for what it is and like stop trying to write the movie. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
It's not hard.
You know, it's
People
cool to
try
have
be
your predictions.
unnecessarily critical.
It's cool to have your predictions, but when something doesn't go your way, there's no reason to get an outright cry about it. Like, it's not the big
That's
of a
the
deal.
wild thing. Oh, this didn't have Toad in it, so -3 stars.
Yeah.
What?
Would have liked to see
Yeah.
Gambit, but he wasn't in it. -4. Like, huh?
No, because the story didn't call for Gambit.
It really
It's
didn't.
like,
I mean,
so no. You can incorporate them later, but
like,
it
there
doesn't.
are a lot of characters I would like to see. I'd like to see Magneto in this, but you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
You might get to see your creative mommy though.
My who?
Your created mommy, though. You remember our WWE matches?
Oh, you talking about Emma Frost?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love Emma Frost, man.
I think she is supposed to be in this movie. I think I could be wrong.
I don't know about that. I know that there's a very quick shot. You know that master shot that they do where they show Ant-Man's his helmet opening right before Emma Frost. I'm not Emma Frost. Right before Cassandra Nova comes out.
Yeah.
You look at that shot. You have to look very closely. But I was reading about it on the internet a little bit. You can see Azazel, who was in X-Men First Class. There, you can see Lady Deathstrike. You can see, I think Sabretooth.
And Pyro
was there.
Pyro was also confirmed.
What's that?
Toad and Pyro were there.
Pyro. Yeah.
He is confirmed. Yeah, because he was in the Super Bowl trailer. He made a cameo. So he's in it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people they can drop into this movie, like one section if they want to just have a cameo parade. But
from the sounds of it, it'd be everybody that used to follow Magneto.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually pretty
It's
valid.
literally the Brotherhood. It's the whole Brotherhood.
Yeah. So, this could get a little more interesting then.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of potential with this, and Ryan Reynolds was so anal about them changing anything too. Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds having as much control as he has over the movie is a godsend.
Yes, it is. because he reads Deadpool comics. He
Yeah.
knows the character.
And he also
So,
knows
respect
he
him.
knows his fan base too. So
Mm-hmm. He knows when you're making these comic book adaptations, it's best not to change anything overly, I won't say necessary, but something that has been established in the book, like as fact. You wouldn't go making her Hulk purple unless it's like totally awesome Hulk or whatever. But
right.
I guess like something integral to the character, like you switch up their personalities, and yeah, people are gonna bitch. But like we were talking about a few minutes ago, this doesn't do what I want it to. No, that's no reason to complain.
I want to ask you guys about one fan theory that I've read about that, and this isn't necessarily a spoiler. This is just a fan theory. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Mhm.
The one theory people have is that either the movie's going to end with this happening, or it's just going to happen at some maybe in an after credit scene or something. But allegedly, there's this theory going around that Deadpool and Wolverine are going to wind up in the final battle of Avengers Endgame, with the idea being that they were there the whole time. We just didn't see things from their perspective.
That could be what that portal jump is.
Yeah.
Because remember in the Avengers Endgame, they all came through those portals.
Right.
So that could be what that is.
On your left, you just see Deadpool and Wolverine murking like.
I fully predict that jumping through the portal is strictly a cameo that was dope as hell scene. I don't think it's going to be something super important to the plot, but I do think it's going to be a nice callback, which is why they blocked it out.
Yeah,
that's going to be dope as hell. I think that theory might be correct. It's probably them jumping into that final battle and just fucking shit up.
For that would be insane.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I think they should do that with more people as they incorporate them into the MCU. Just show flashbacks or something, like a little scene of them fighting in that all-out war against Thanos.
It'd be cool to
And
even.
Oh,
sorry. It'd be cool to even see him go like Wolverine runs into Captain America, so Cap goes, "Good to see you."
Long time no see,
because they're both old as
like
dirt.
Yeah. Something like so minuscule, but you can do so much with.
Yeah.
Something like that would be perfect.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it. I think we all look forward to it. The world looks forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen,
one more time. Let's fucking go.
Deadpool 3. Can't wait.
Deadpool is what got me into comics. Like, Deadpool was my first actual comic that I bought. Mainly due to, like, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I'm like, this is funny dude all the time. So I bought a Deadpool comic. I'm like, oh, he's freaking hilarious. So that's why I love these Deadpool series, these Deadpool movies so much. Because you have somebody that knows the character and wants to do their best to bring him to life for the benefit of all the fans of Deadpool.
Right.
And just seeing it done this way just makes my heart smile. That's the best way I can put it. Makes my heart smile.
Great.
All right, let's wrap this up, guys, because I am starving.
Oh, you hungry? I'm hungry. What are we eating?
Probably the only thing that's open right now, Wendy's.
Brian gonna get me a dreamsicle icy or frosty.
Whatever you want.
Hey.
All right, Don, you want to take us out?
Episode of the Uncaged Voice podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Everybody say goodbye.
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 And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Till then, sayonara.
Good night.
Adios.